Sometimes life can seem pretty difficult. Sometimes things don't. Welcome to the Possibility Action Network. I'm your host, Stephen Middleton, aka Possibility Man. We're committed to bringing you guests who strive to better people's lives and serve as a force for good in the world. Today we have Mr. Ricardo Wilkins. Ricardo grew up in the greater Washington, D.C. area. He is a businessman, and one of the interests of the Possibility Action Network is to share thought leaders around the areas of business. So, Ricardo, welcome to the show today.
Stephen, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation to share and discuss on this podcast, and I hope your listeners find value in our conversation.
Fantastic. Now, I knew you grew up in the District of Columbia area. Can you tell us about that, about your background, where you grew up, where you went to high school, the kinds of things you were interested in?
I was born in Washington, D.C., and I grew up in Maryland, in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. most of my life. My third, fourth generation D.C. My parents were from D.C. Most of my grandparents were. So my family is very heavily rooted in the area. And I think growing up in the DC area, I didn't really appreciate the uniqueness of that until I got old, and the uniqueness of the history and of specifically downtown, the mall area of DC, how historic that was. So, but that was reflecting on my childhood, going to the museum, exciting. And growing up, I grew up in Maryland, Prince George's County, about 20 minutes outside of Washington, D.C., a predominantly Black suburb. I think it was maybe the highest grossing income Black suburb in the country or something along those lines. For many years, I think still currently. And so I went there to a high school called Duval High School. I played rec sports outside of the high school. I played a lot of basketball, but I did not go out for the team, for the basketball team, for several reasons. For a few reasons as throughout my high school, I regret, but everything happens for a reason. And then after high school, I went to the University of Maryland, which was literally maybe about 5 miles down the street there, and where I majored in criminal justice because I wanted to, I love movies and, thriller, investigative thrillers and spy thrillers. So I thought I would go that route, and majored in criminology and criminal justice. A lot. I think at Maryland, I learned more about people than what I took away academically, and just interacting with different people. And I made a lot of lifelong friends. So that was kind of like, growing up in the DC metropolitan area.
Right. Yeah, I would think that DC, with the capital and all of the politicians and the power brokers in the area, that itself could be a university for someone growing up there. Was it like that for you? Were you inspired by some of the people who came to DC?
Oh, that's a good question. Growing up like before college, probably I didn't really, was aware of it. I kind of just thought that was just, our local news was probably a lot more geared to, political issues and world affair issues and maybe other local news markets. And I realized that when I traveled to different parts of the country, as I got completely different. Like I felt like our local news was more like the way that I was aware of. But then when I was in college, I had the opportunity to intern at the U.S. That was a very learning experience. What I did there wasn't political nature. They stuck me in the copy room, but just, I got to see what, the different bills and things that, senators wanted printed for their staff, or their committees. And there was always local, C-SPAN was also always playing in the copy room or in the lunchroom. So I was exposed to different issues that I wasn't prior to that. So that was a really rewarding, eye-opening experience, just learning about that side of our country, I would say.
Yeah, you used a good word, exposure. And that's what I was trying to get at, whether this exposure kind of broadened your perspective on the world because of Washington, D.C. Okay, so I know that you also worked in government service after college. What was that like for you?
Yeah, I worked even in college. I worked at, like I said, I started government, worked at the Senate for 2 summers as an intern. Even I worked at the Federal Bureau of Prisons, another internship while I was in college. So I just kind of, a lot of people here work. My parents didn't, but a lot of family members and a lot of people here obviously work, and kind of found myself, then with my major lended itself to that. So after college, not immediately, but I ended up finding myself doing government. For different reasons, I never actually got a government job, official government job. And so, I worked at like some nonprofits, but then eventually I found myself in the government sector with government contracting work, which is also very big here. And eventually it led me to a role with the Environmental Protection Agency, with a government based out of Alaska, but have offices all around the country. So I worked at the EPA years, almost 17 years, up to a month ago. I worked there doing records and database management, things along those lines.
Okay. All right. So, and I want to get to know you better, and I want our audience to get to know you better as well.
Sure.
I know that you like traveling around the world, from my understanding of it. Was this an interest that you've had for a long time? And where have you gone in recent years? Can you tell us about that?
I would say travel is my passion. That is probably like my number one passion that I have. And one of the reasons that's the case is because of the exposure. And I literally heard someone say today, enjoy exposure and immersing themselves in different environments and experiences, because there's growth there. And I was like, wow, yeah, that hits it right on the nose. I probably found my love for travel maybe about 10 years ago. I traveled before that, in maybe big groups. I did a lot of like going to Miami and, beaches. And I think because my dad, he exposed me to, he always talked about, he didn't travel, but he talked about traveling and exposed me to just different, maybe different, just different activities that maybe weren't, that my friends weren't exposed to. So as I got older, when I had the opportunity to travel and do different things, I was open to it. And I would say maybe actually when I started dating my current partner, she was an avid traveler. So I always say she taught me how to travel. And and what I mean by that is teaching me how to travel, essentially. Just, a lot of people say, I want to travel, I want to go here, but just actually taking the steps to do it and just being proactive. And she told me how to do that. So we try to go somewhere internationally at least once a year. Most recently, we just got back from Namibia in Africa 2 weeks ago, which was absolutely amazing. And I would even call it a life-changing experience, from the people, and the geography was so unique, and animals, and it was an amazing experience. Was in Belize earlier this year, some diving there. Spent some time in Cartagena, Colombia for 2 months a couple years ago, volunteering, which was again another, I never lived, I've done some traveling up to that point, but I never lived anywhere else. I never even probably spent more than 2 weeks outside of the DC area prior to that. So which was very different for me to be somewhere. Just 2 months isn't that long, but to live somewhere else and living in this apartment with 2 people that don't speak English was and then volunteering in a impoverished community was again another life-changing experience. So I've done a few other places around the world, which has been.
Did you learn any Spanish during your time in Colombia?
Muy poquito, muy poquito.
Okay. All right. So now, Ricardo, you are identified as a cellular health educator. If I have that right, what does that mean?
Well, that means I educate people on an emerging area of science called Redox, or redox biology, or redox signaling, and how foundational and fundamental that is to the body, and the being able to, the possibility of being able to replenish these redox molecules, which are essentially our body's cellular messengers, so our body can better regulate healthy balance and detect and repair. The ability to be able to replenish that is allows us to really maximize our health in a lot of different areas. So that's what, in a nutshell, that's what I would describe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's consistent with what we're finding in medicine. I'm not a medical doctor, but I've interviewed some medical doctors on this podcast, and some of the functional medical doctors are saying that the human body, perhaps all living organism, have a native ability to heal itself if given the right conditions. Is that about what you all talk about as well in redox biology?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's something, when we're growing up in school, they teach us, what is it, the nutritional, I forgot what it is exactly, but the nutritional tree, or, we taught about vitamins and minerals and how important it is to, support our body with really important materials that we get from outside of the body, and herbs and vitamins and minerals and oils, which are vital. And that's where the health and wellness industry has been focused over the last few years. But with that, we probably never think about, well, there's definitely mechanisms in our body that know keep us healthy, right? That might be even more prominent and potent than the materials. Because I've heard someone say, we can go weeks without food and days without water, right? So there's mechanisms keeping us healthy, and our body, and one of the maybe the most prominent and the deepest is the redox signaling in our body. As I've heard it described as from practitioners as our inner. One day I was saying to my mom, I was explaining this dysfunction in the body, and I said, when you get a cut, right? We never thought about, like, how does our body know how to repair that cut, right? How does it know how to repair those damaged cells and those tissues? Well, there's needs to be signaling, and needs to be communication system to repair those damaged cells and to keep out any foreign invaders that would want to, infect us.
Right. So you told me that you made a deliberate search for a business opportunity a while back, but before we delve into that, did you have any interest in business before your current endeavor? Or is this a new thing that sprung out of you?
I would say some aspects it's a new thing. I think, like a lot of people, I've had dreams of, having a certain income or being wealthy and, maybe starting a business. I would say I never did it seriously. I never took that initiative. And I would say in some respects, I never seen myself in that light. So yeah, dreams like, oh, I would love to own this kind of company or do this, but more so just like a fantasy. Mm-hmm. So not until my current endeavor have I seen myself as a business owner and an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I'm glad you used that word, entrepreneurship, as well. So I want to ask you this. From the time you started in your business to now, how have you changed? Or perhaps you'd ask the question differently. Have you noticed any changes in yourself from when you started your business to where you are now?
I'm laughing because literally this weekend, it was Sunday, I was talking to a gentleman, and we were talking about we were working on a project together, and related to this redox signaling. And I had a discussion with him some time ago. And in our conversation on Zoom, he he referenced how different I was than our previous conversations, and he noticed a lot more, he said, confidence in our discussion that he didn't see before. And I've heard, I mean, I'm completely transformed over the last year, in the last 2-3 years since I took on this endeavor. One of the things that it offers the opportunity to do is just personal development, and which is something I'm very passionate about, and just developing and growing and pushing past our boundaries. Because for most of my life was defined by not doing that, always playing it safe and never taking the risk. And I can give example of me not making a decision to that would challenge me, be it school wise, educational wise, a job, not going on an interview, or turning down jobs because I didn't think I didn't believe in myself. And I've done things that I would never have done before over the last couple of years, because this this endeavor is I'm so passionate about it that has propelled me past the limiting beliefs that I had.
Yeah, and clearly you're a very smart young man, and from what you've said, you grew up around privilege in a sense, and grew up in the suburbs back in the day. I didn't know what the word suburb was. So it's wonderful to hear that. So so you could have started a number of businesses. I mean, you could have started a brick and mortar business. You could have started a McDonald's franchise. But yet, and I'll identify the business you're in a moment, why did you not choose that type of business to become a franchisor or franchisee or something like that?
That I would say the business kind of chose me. And to be quite frank with you, when I initially took on this endeavor, I didn't really see it as, I just saw it as it was something I was passionate about, and I believed it was important that people knew about, and I can help some people, family and friends, with their health and the business, and I can make some extra income by just recommending or explaining or educating people on redox signaling. And it wasn't until, as things progressed, that I educated myself more on the industry of network marketing, that I became really, really passionate about that business model and what it provides. And it gives, and to answer your question, it's one, it's ideally, it's something you're passionate about, whatever the service, or if it's a product, whatever, it's something you're passionate about and would recommend to someone if it was a business attached to it. But with that, there's a very low barrier entry compared to a franchise, opening a franchise at McDonald's or a Domino's franchise, where there's thousands, I'm not sure the exact amount, but at least thousands of dollars. And there's a lot of work being owner of and just using a franchise as an example. There's a lot of work as being a franchise owner. There's a lot of employees, a lot of infrastructure, and my understanding can be some time before you see a return on that revenue. Whereas the network marketing business opportunity, in my opinion, is the most substantial wealth building model for the average person on the planet, because anybody that over time takes work, it takes consistency, can build a substantial residual income for a very low barrier entry.
Okay, I want to return to the business model that you've chosen, network marketing, in a moment, but I want to go back, and I may have this wrong, but I think you once said to me that you were sparked with some desire to start a business, and you went on a search and discovered something about cellular health. Is that about right, or do I have that wrong?
No, we're a little differently.
Okay.
So for me, I was going to my story a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a lot of work, like personal development work and spiritual development. And I was at a place where I was very just disenfranchised and unfulfilled in my government job at the time. And I really wanted to quit. And frankly, the only reason why I did not quit is because I didn't have enough money saved. And what just kind of funny, I believe it was divine guidance. I was just watching a doctor that I trusted who mentioned this redox biology and redox signaling. And so I took it upon myself to it and see how it can help me with my health. I didn't have any outstanding health issues, just more, I have a philosophy of, protecting my health and supporting my immune system. Your regeneration and sounded like important to it because I can really, so I started, assisting my body with this redox signal. An event and not having anyone to go ask questions to, I kind of like I have a curious mind to learn about new things I've never heard of. So I just, like 2 months, I was just learning more and more about this emerging field of health. And I just became really passionate about it. And I started telling people about it. And I literally remember, just telling my girlfriend, Ruthie, that, everybody needs to know about this. And she suggested, because I was void of anything that I was passionate about, this could maybe potentially fill that. And so that's when I made the decision to jump into the business. But again, like I mentioned before, I didn't really think about it in those terms at that time. It was just like, I'm in the health and wellness, I can help people, extra income.
Okay. So parenthetically, you mentioned another subject that the Possibility Action Network is concerned about, and that is spirituality. You mentioned your spiritual development. So in this parenthesis, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. I over the last few years, I would be a religious person, but I would say I'm a spiritual person, and just connecting with connecting with my inner spirit or my best self, or my soul. A lot of people describe it in different ways, but for myself, I'll say just connecting with my higher spirit, which was for me is for spirituality. And so raising my consciousness, raising my awareness, stillness, mindfulness, gratitude, humbleness, being appreciative for the life that I have, all intersects with spiritual development. And what essentially is for me just means just guiding myself in a way that is in line with what my higher self deems fruitful for me.
I like it. I like what that sounds. And in fact, that's that area also is a region that's evolving, where people are looking more into spirituality. Now, let's go back to network marketing. You said that the business model that you've chosen is network marketing. And of course, back in the day, most people referred to it as multi-level marketing. What does that mean? Give us a handle on what that means, network marketing.
How I would describe as network marketing is being a business model where raving fans of a product or service can recommend that product or service to other people, or share their experience with other people. And those customers that decide to share it with others can get paid commission from the company that produces this product or service. Unlike what most, I was actually saying this to someone else the other day, throughout life, we're really indoctrinated and conditioned to receive products or services to learn about them from marketing and traditional marketing and advertising, which is television and radio and billboards. With network marketing, the companies in that industry decided to, instead of paying millions and millions of dollars to advertising and marketing companies and TV channels, just divert revenue towards their customers. And their customers are, word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing in the planet. And so it's just using word of mouth to share their product or service. So then now customers can share that product or service that they believe in with other individuals. And what differentiates network marketing from other maybe direct selling, where say, where it's a salesperson doing traditional sales, how we think on sales, like knocking on doors, and they get that commission from that sale. Whereas network marketing is, say I have friends or family that use this product, and they use it, and so the company pays me commission for every time they purchase it, just from sharing and recommending and sharing my story. So that's one way. But then also, say my friend or family member decides, you know what, I can make some extra income just by sharing and recommending this to other people. And because I was the first one to share it, it's kind of like a good way to think of it is distribution channel. So I get a small commission from each individual in my lineage, as you might say, that decides to try this product, a small commission. And the power of network marketing is that some people just decide to do that, share with a few people to, maybe pay for their product or get a few, extra $500 one can be really life-changing for a lot of people. But then some people can really decide to take on aspect of this and really grow what they bring in monthly through these commissions. So then there becomes a compounding effect. I think Einstein said compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. So over time, over even years, there's an exponential growth where 2 people becomes 4 people, and 4 people becomes 8 people, and 8 people becomes 16 people, and 16 becomes 32, and it keeps growing and growing, where you can have thousands of people literally around the world just using this product that they believe in. And because it all started through you get a small percentage of that. And that can really be life-changing, where an individual can be earning the equivalent a month. So say you're earning, $7,000 a month, that's equivalent to a piece of real estate that's worth $1.4 million. There's nowhere in the world you can do that part-time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have had some experiences like that. As you can see, I sport a bald head, and I use what's called an Omni shaver, little razor that fits just in my fingers. And I love this razor so much. I told my son about it. I've told other strangers about it. Have you used the Omni shaver? And Omni shaver, the company, didn't share any commissions with me, but I have shared their product because I love it. And just a couple of days ago, Ricardo was talking with a guy, just a small group of us, kind of chatting, and he was talking about a nutritional supplement that he got from just a local drugstore, that he had a great experience from it. And being a cellular health educator myself, I thought, I don't know about this product, so I checked it out. But he just told me about it, and I had an interest in it, and I checked it out. So, and I think that's what you're telling us, right? Simply sharing.
Exactly. We all, we've all shared, like your friend shared a nutritional with you, and razors. We all shared something that we use that we find beneficial and has value. Yeah. And network marketing just gives the regular everyday person the chance to share it, maybe a little bit more intentionally, but authentically. And that's something they have a value with, friends that they believe people can really benefit from. Yeah. And you just get commission from it, from the company.
I did that a lot, because I did a podcast or maybe something on Facebook or whatever, and I give a plug to James Bond, No Time to Die. Right. I guess we just do this, right? We just do this. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. So you think it's a good business model for you to, for companies that move products in the marketplace, but also it offers an opportunity for people like you. So let's get into the nuts and bolts. What are the challenges you face, if any, as a network marketing professional?
I love that question. I love that question. Well, I think the number one challenge for myself, which was an internal challenge, was what I believe the invalid understanding and reputation of network marketing. And so it was like I mentioned that when I first decided to, just share this with people, I told myself I was never going to talk about the opportunity with. I didn't believe, well, I guess in some sense I didn't believe in it, but not because I had a misunderstanding about it per se, but I didn't want people to think, oh, he's doing one of those things. So I was just telling them about this product that I believe is really important. So for me, that was an internal challenge that I had to overcome. And now I love this business model when done right and authentically, and because what it can provide for people. But with that, there is that challenge with people externally, of people not, I believe, having a full understanding of what network marketing is and how the history of it, how it got started, and just the mechanism of it. It has and part of that for people for a very long time, people not doing it properly, people doing it inauthentically and being manipulative. A lot of that poor reputation is due to that, which is valid. It's not quite like that as much. Well, not even a lot, I would say. There's bad apples in every industry and in every market you find. So, but I believe that's the challenge, just really educating people on what network marketing is. People, also it's like, well, I can't do sales. I don't want to do sales. Yeah. And I would never say obviously it's not a sales element. There's definitely a sales element to it, but experience is not what we typically think as sales, trying to coerce or manipulate people into buying something just because we get paid from it. Being a fan of a product or service, you believe someone will have value in it. And it's really just recommending and sharing your story with people a little bit more intently. So just really educating people on what network marketing is definitely an obstacle. And just I heard it said that network marketing is personal development you get paid for, because it really pushes you to get outside of your comfort zone, to really push past your limits. And I've seen it in other people. I've seen it in myself. So that's a challenge, but in my opinion, it's almost like I didn't know that before I even got involved, but it's a challenge that makes it an interesting opportunity and a rewarding opportunity.
Right. I'm happy that you said though that you put it differently, but I think this is what you mean. It's virtually impossible to find an organization or an industry that doesn't have or have never had some problems in that industry.
Yeah.
I'm a former educator, and I'm telling you what, institutions of higher learning have all kinds of stuff goes on, and you can pick anything: government, military, corporations, stuff. So it would be surprising if you were to say that network marketing was perfect.
Right.
It's always been perfect. Now I want to share with you something that I heard Eric Worre say, and I'm going to let you tell our listeners or viewers who Eric Worre was, because I want to identify him. And then but let me say what he said. Eric Worre said that network marketing is a great equalizer. He said, it doesn't matter if you're a woman, it doesn't matter if you are African American, it doesn't matter if you're Latino, that network marketing simply levels the playing field. So I would like for you to do two things for our audience, and that is, one, who is Eric Worre? And number two, and you can throw in either of this back to me if you like. Number two, what do you think about my expression of what he said?
Sure. So who Eric Worre is, I think I would describe Eric Worre as kind of the most prominent at this point, he's someone who had a lot of years of success as a network marketing associate. And now he's seen as probably the most coach trainer in network marketing. He has an annual event every that used to be live, but I believe the last 2 years has been virtual, called GoPro. In December, it was just actually a few weeks ago, where he invites network marketers from around the world to speak to thousands of network marketers. So a whole weekend event. It's a really big thing. So he has a book called GoPro, network marketing. I got this network marketing, GoPro. But the gist is, the idea of it is treating network marketing as a true profession. A lot more professionals are coming into network marketing, successful people that are successful in other industries and business owners. So really about what it takes to be successful in the mindset. So that's how I would describe Eric Worre. I don't know if people are familiar with Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar. He's kind of like the Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar of the current day network marketing. And to your point that network marketing equalizer, I would 100% agree, because anyone, and I'll be honest, most people don't. Most people don't, but anyone can build and have a team of customers or a private that provides that through their efforts, they have the life of their dreams, where they have the wealth that people have dreamed of, through doing consistent work, building personal development, the self-belief, working on the mindset. And I think that's what he means by the equalizer. Anybody of any race can accomplish what hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people have accomplished if they're willing to work on themselves and do the work, and the work is worth it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to ask you hopefully a challenging question. It's going to be pros and cons of network marketing.
Oh, wow.
The first, I'm going to give you maybe 10 seconds or so I'm going to tune up a little music while you think about it.
Sure.
So pros of network marketing, cons of network marketing, and, just to try to, until you're finished, not too many, maybe 3 in each column. So I'm going to tune up a little music, and I want you to think, would you be willing to do that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's a tough question, but I love it. Let's do it.
Okay. So.
Okay.
But you gotta keep going and keep moving along. You are not alone, just keep on going. Just press on, press on.
Okay, just to remind everyone, I'm talking with Ricardo Wilkins. He is a network marketing professional and a cellular health educator. I've just asked him to give some thoughts to his industry, the business model that he chooses, network marketing, and to give us a few of the pros and cons of it. You said you're willing to play this game, Ricardo, so the floor is yours. Okay, can you hear me? Ricardo, I think I just lost you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Okay, great.
Okay. So I'll start with the pros, and the ability to do this part-time from anywhere in the world, where you can, over time do something on such a part-time basis, and in 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 years, be earning 5, 6 figures a month. I know a woman that when she first started this business, she was close to bankruptcy. She was a business owner whose business had failed, and she was working double shifts in a restaurant. Her daughter was in college, and she was facing bankruptcy, and she only had 20 break at the restaurant as a waitress, and she spent 20 hours a day just telling people about this product. And this woman is a millionaire. Well, millionaire, but I would say she's earning very, very good money. I'll say that, from just starting out working 20 minutes a day. And so just the flexibility, number one. Number two is kind of back to, it being an equalizer where any person, any person, it could be, someone that's, destitute pretty much, somebody very successful can come, it has the opportunity and ability, anybody can achieve their success in this industry. And that for a very, very low barrier entry, for a few $100, anybody can begin it and do that. And I would say the third pro is that, and again, I believe this is unique, where you can come in and be mentored and helped and assisted by millionaires and people that have done it before and are successful and don't want to see you reach the success they had. Like truly, they want to help and assist you to reach the success. And so the ability to be mentored that closely and be able to, there's people who are what we might describe as very, very successful, ask them for help. And I don't know many industries, if any, where you have that opportunity, where anybody does. So those would say just a few of the pros. I would say three cons are, one is just the like we talked about, I believe the misunderstanding of network marketing that people have. That's definitely a barrier. And it's interesting though, I've heard someone say he's someone kind of like a mentor from the far called Richard Brooke. And if it's okay, I'll plug his book because I feel like it's great for educating on the history and what network marketing really is, called The 4-Year Career. And he said network marketing is probably the one industry where 80 or 90% of the public has already decided they don't want anything to do with your products or your opportunity. But yet thousands and thousands of people join a week prior, a month prior, had no interest in that. And there is, so that's a con, that there's that barrier, but it's also can be, by opening people up and just educating them, seeing themselves in the industry and then being successful is rewarding. But that's a con. Is the second is, I would say, you can't, I would say that you have to understand that you can't, people make their own decisions. So as you maybe find business, people maybe say they want to, work side by side with you, can, stop answering your phone calls, or not do things they said they were going to do, which is their prerogative, but not to take those kind of things personally and understand that's just where that person is. And it's okay. But just developing that, that kind of like thick skin to not take certain things personally, because people have the right to make their own decisions. And so I would say that's second pro con. And the third, I would say the third is understanding that it does take effort. And then I don't even know if I want to describe this as a con, but I'll say it's a con because I feel like initially it's a con for people, and so I feel like it's why a lot of people decide they don't want to do this, is that it does take work. It does take consistent effort and work, pushing past, again, those limiting beliefs, and going outside of your comfort zone, which is not really a con. I think about it. It's not, because it's rewarding and it's growth. But I feel like some people will see that as a con, so I'll label that as a con, and because I can't think of nothing else.
Well, thanks for playing the game with me. So from your experience, and I know you haven't been around in this industry for 10 years, but I think you've learned this, and let me see how I can put it. I really want to get into, all opportunities are not the same, or products are not the same. So my question to you is this: how do you, because a person needs to choose well if they're going to choose a good opportunity for them.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who is trying to decide, is this product one that I want to represent? Is this opportunity a good one for me? How can they choose well? What would you say to them about choosing well?
That's a good question. That's a tough question, but that's a good question. I would say, well, one, I would say start at looking at the companies that, depending on what someone wants, for myself, I want a company that wants to stick around for the long time to build a legacy, for a legacy income for myself. So I would say, look at the companies that are in that position. There's companies that have been around 20, 30, 40 years, that figured out how to do this. So maybe just to learn products, that people value that allow a company to maintain itself that long. I would say also look into the executive and the organization. What are they about? What are they really? What is their mission? They want to take the company, and just how they, just their values and their ethics and their ethos. I think that's important. And a product you believe in. There's a lot of amazing, but just a product that you would take, for years, the rest of your life, if there was no opportunity attached to it, and that you would recommend if there was no opportunity attached to it. That's what I would suggest.
That's great. Okay, so my last question, and then, well, actually second from the last, if you have another one after this. But if I have this right, your express mission is to empower others to create a purposeful life. If that's not quite it, correct it for me and share with us what that means.
Yeah, that's it. I believe that's it. Just through my growth and development over the last, 3, 4, 5 years, I'm really changed my mindset. In some aspects, I'm a completely different person. What I believe, what I do, my activities, my interest. And at this stage of my life, I have curated a life that is I feel for myself is very purpose driven, and it's very rewarding, where as far as my relationships, with my family, my partner, my friends, the people I'm partnered with and work with, and I just feel, I feel like, and this is just me, I'm not saying other people have to do this, I've really shed myself of a lot of the things I've been indoctrinated to, just what we're supposed to do in life, what we're supposed to accomplish, that I realized weren't what I was looking for in life. And I set up my own beliefs and things that I want to accomplish that resonate and vibrate with me. And I feel like a lot of people go about life with what either their parents and society have really just conditioned them to do. And I just, from my experience, being free to choose what I found valuable, and then finding things in my life that feel purposeful for me, and creating a life that suit that, has been unbelievable. This past year has been the most amazing year. Sometimes I feel like I'm living a dream, and it's been a challenging year. I've done things that have been very difficult, but things I decided to do because they were challenging. And I just look back on my life, maybe prior to the last 3 or 4 years, it's just different. Yeah. And I just wish that for other people, if that's what they're looking for, just figuring out what really resonates with you and what you believe, and what gives you that purpose, and designing a life around that.
That's really inspiring. And you've touched me with what you've shared. Well, Ricardo Wilkins, is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we part ways today?
No, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here. I will share this if I can plug a book I'm participating in. I've been asked to do. It's an anthology book coming out on Christmas Day. It's called it's called, oh goodness gracious. It's called Power Talk, Perspectives on Power, Passion, Purpose, and Perseverance. Yeah, I've never done any, again, that's something I've never done before, being involved as a co-author. So I invite people to check that out. I share a little bit more of my story and overcoming obstacles in my life and touching on some of the things I touched on today.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for spending time with us today. And I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you, Dr. Middleton.
Okay. Well, you have been watching the Possibility Action Network podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Middleton, AKA Possibility Man. We are committed to bringing you guests who strive to better people's lives and serve as a force for good in the world. We appreciate having Ricardo Wilkins with us today. Once again, Ricardo, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Press on, press on. Just keep on going.